Duck Life is the single best game in existence, and you may ask why. Here, I present my sources.
My source is that I made it the up.
Large YouTuber Martin Sitopan says,
Plays like Learn to Fly, but worse in almost every way. C tier.
well, with that out of the way, let's get started. So first off, I created a new project in Roblox Studio. And of course, the first step is to create a duck model, which made me immediately question my confidence and desire for this project. But anyway, this will be the player. Now, the whole point of Duck Life is that you race against other ducks to become the fastest duck. So a good start would be to make maps, and to compensate for whatever this is, I got started immediately and made 10 of them, including Verdant Village, Alluring Archipelago, Forsaken Fortress, and the final map, which I'll talk more about later. And you can test these maps by, well, I quickly realized that I needed a large main map where the player could explore and challenge these racers naturally. So I took a very large ground surface, added borders, a few buildings, trees, and threw a bunch of decorations on it to make it look better. Next, I needed many racers that the player could challenge, so I copied and pasted my original duck model, changed its colors, and placed them in an area akin to their map. And each one of these racers needs dialogue, so I opened an old project and conveniently found a dialogue system that worked perfectly. So I just copied and pasted the interface and created this extremely messy but working script for it to function. Now, I gave them all very dramatic dialogue for fun, and then it prompts the player for a race. So I quickly threw together a script that allows the player to race a duck that should, well, work perfectly. So let's test it out. So, why did this happen? This duck has no idea how to go from point A to point B. In order to fix this problem, we need pathfinding. But wait, any textbook pathfinding algorithm isn't going to cut it here because of the complex landscape. So the solution is what I will coin as shadow pathfinding, where I use an auxiliary position recorder to plot hundreds of positional vector data and save it as an invisible guide for the duck to follow later on. And look at that, the pathfinding works, which one can say is unfortunate because it's getting obliterated by my opponent. So the first natural step is to implement a system that would allow me to get faster. To get started, I created many different backgrounds and then I made them generate perpetually in a random manner. And just like that, I was finished. Well, maybe not quite yet. Something was missing. So I opened Blender for the first time in 18 months, and then I remembered I had absolutely no idea how to use this software. But fortunately, we are no longer living in ancient times, so I used this advanced AI system to generate a bunch of obstacles.
What the fuck is this piece of shit?
So then I had to dig deep and learn how I use Blender, which I did for a couple minutes, then just found a bunch of models off of the internet. After, I slapped hitboxes onto them and added them on top of the backgrounds. Then after programming the whole thing, it is functional, and once you die you will receive experience that increases your speed. So with this done, let's try to beat the duck again. So it turns out shockingly that you need a lot of energy once you're very fast. So now I need to add a system that will allow the player to get energy. Now in Duck Life you consume this weird hyper-processed and hyper-manufactured seed thing that supposedly increases your energy. However, while scrolling through the Roblox homepage, I realized that people seem to really like farming mechanics, so I decided to make that instead because it seemed pretty fun. In order to make a farming mechanic, the first step is to create a farm area on the main map and a bunch of ground surfaces on which the plants can grow. Then, by my luck, a bunch of plant models just magically appeared on top of them. Now, we need a place to purchase these plants, so I created a shop and an inventory that showcases the costs and rewards of each plant, and it allows you to buy them. And once a plant gets acquired, a new object is created that contains lots of data such as harvest time, planting, and is harvested. Next, the player can use these purchased vegetables and plant them. However, around this time I realized that the majority of these vegetables don't grow from the ground, they grow on trees, so the solution to this is putting down the sign. Now finally you can harvest these vegetables, which gives you either in-game currency, running experience, or energy that you can use to perhaps finally beat a specific racer. Finally, I needed an interface to showcase these values, so I acquired one from the internet. In addition, I added another interface that serves as an instant race prompt where the player can challenge racers and view the rewards for beating them. So we finally have a lot of the core mechanics done, but what do all top games have in common? An achievement system. So Roblox has a built-in feature called badge service, but take a look at it. It probably hasn't been updated since 2008, so I decided not to use it. But first I need achievement ideas, so I thought hard about it, and I wanted achievements that would be awarded once you beat one of the 10 racers for the first time. Next, I created many miscellaneous achievements, such as Salad Architect, where you have to grow a carrot, tomato, lettuce, and a pepper on the farm, and Close Call, where you have to beat a racer with less than half a second remaining. So I integrated the achievement system into my main stats interface. You can click on these buttons to change the display size, and then you could sort between locked and unlocked achievements, and you can click on one to see more information about it. Now, a lot of the gameplay is done, but what is the point of gameplay if there's no story? So the general idea is that a duck village is suddenly destroyed by a mysterious fire. The player tries to escape but inevitably collapses from their lack of energy and speed. However, when the player wakes up, they learn that there is a shadow duck, and its power is spread across 9 territories. To challenge the shadow duck, the player must travel through and defeat each territory in a race. Now, remember the final map from earlier. It is called Eclipse Expanse, and you have to beat the shadow duck in a race to save everything. Of course, this will be the hardest map of them all. And at this point, there's only a few things missing. The first is apparent. The duck model looks basic and terrible, so I wanted to add a character customization module. Duck Life has a similar feature where you can change your hat and skin color. Obviously, I'm not trying to copy it though, so I added a third cataloging face. The first step is to get a bunch of accessories, and I was considering making them in Blender, but before I could finish that decision, I already got 20 from the Roblox catalog. Now, I created one giant catalog of the character customization objects, and then I threw 12 different scripts together to make it work. However, I quickly realized that I forgot to make an interface for it, so I found one off of the internet, and just like that, the system works perfectly. On top of that, I also added 2 new achievements that are unlocked depending on how much items you have. So first I realized that I did not want a very aggressive email from a lawyer, so I named the game Duck Dash instead, and then added a very brief description. Next, I needed thumbnails, so I took a few appealing images of the game, and then I slapped some text on top of them, and then I added them to the game. Then I briefly created a game icon, and finally everything is finished, so play the game if you want. The link is in the description. Thank you all very much.